Unafraid Show, Reister Wrong. It's your boy, George Reister, in the building, along with my man, Eric Peterson.
What up, what up?
We got a bunch of great things up for you guys today. Appreciate your time. Appreciate your energy. Always go to unafraidshow.com. We got a bunch of great things up. Eric's got a new article up about the five best and 5 worst teams in the NFL. Everybody wants to rank the 5 best teams. That's the easy work. How do you figure out who the worst teams in the NFL are?
A lot to choose from, George. A lot to choose from. So check it out. It was a lot of fun putting that together. I actually like my number 1 team in the NFL because I don't know how long you're going to see them there, but it's a little tease. Check it out on unafraidshow.com. We got a lot to get into, George, today. First of all, you know me, I'm the fixer, right? You know me, I like to fix things, and this is going to be ironic because basically I want a league to stop trying to fix itself. So we're going to get into that. We're going to get into possibly looking at boxing and how to make these decisions a little more clearer, where we can understand it better, to possibly try to do a better job of getting the right decisions, because we had a controversy again with a decision that happened between Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. I myself did not witness the fight. I did not see it. I know you did. So I can't wait to hear.
You are failing by not seeing that fight.
I can't wait to hear what you have to say, because I actually just looked at the statistics. Okay, I looked at the statistics of the fight, and I have to say, by the statistics of what I saw, they might have gotten it right.
No, absolutely not.
I, like so many other people, have to see it, because the first fight, I still feel, was a travesty in front of the decision. So we're going to get into that a little bit. We're also going to get into a very, very pertinent topic that everyone wants to talk about right now, which is the Dallas Mavericks and what transpired by the NBA investigation, which is a lot of misconduct going on within the organization involving sexual harassment. We've got we got a new feature today that finished the statement, George. I'm going to throw something out at you. You got to finish it. Hopefully you have something for me. And then we, of course, have Reister or Wrong names out of a hat and the Curious George story of the day. But, as always, when you and I discuss things before the show, it gets a little heated maybe, or I basically kind of blare in your ear and you're just like, save it for the show, Eric. Save it for the show. There's a new book coming out by Ian O'Connor, and it talks about Bill Belichick, the making of a great coach.
Yeah.
In that book, though, nothing is kind of off limits, where a lot is talked about Tom Brady's relationship with Coach Belichick. Now, you haven't been able to figure out the last few years, things have happened between Brady and Belichick, which puts in question their relationship. But I kind of learned a little bit more about Tom Brady's background, George.
Okay.
And I know this is something that's hard for you to talk about, because I know you don't really qualify him as what you would per se call a great athlete. I found out that Tom Brady, I did not know this. I knew about John Elway, Russell Wilson, playing baseball, being very good at it. John Elway was a very good baseball player, played in the Yankees organization when he was not happy being the Colts quarterback until they traded his rights to the Broncos. John Elway was going to play baseball. Well, apparently, the GOAT played baseball at such a high level that many people have considered Tom Brady picked the wrong sport to continue his career. So,
you are
being recruited by Michigan and Alabama in high school, obviously going to Michigan, you have to wait his turn there. Brian Griese led Michigan to an undefeated season. We all know that. But then Brady came in, had a very good college career, but was only drafted, in the 6th round by the Patriots. I sit here and tell you right now, as I look right into the camera, Tom Brady's a great athlete. You cannot say that he's not. Look what he's done in his NFL career. Look at his numbers. He's 43 years old right now?
Who cares? Listen, Eric.
Great athlete. Even though Coach Belichick would disagree with that.
Tom Brady.
What he said.
This is where I constantly have to correct people and make people understand. There is a difference between somebody who is extremely athletic and a great athlete, and somebody who can do multiple things. Like, a great athlete can do more than one thing. A great athlete can play baseball, football, basketball, and excel at those things athletically. But however, to be a great athlete, You have to be able to run, jump, do all of these things at an exceptional level. Tom Brady cannot do those things. He can be a great quarterback. But however,
he doesn't really have to.
He is, but that does not.
Smartest,
but that does not.
Precise.
Actually, but that does not make. Hold on. But that does not make you a great athlete. Tom Brady's one of the slowest quarterbacks in the league.
I can argue that.
He can't jump the highest. And do you know what that means too? That means too that he could not have been a great baseball player. That's exactly what that means.
Hold on.
Because
have you seen how hard he throws the football though? You realize that Tom Brady right now in the National Football League releases the ball and has one of the hardest thrown balls in the league.
And do you
Which
know?
Which means you have to have a strong arm. So I'm guessing maybe that kind of would
here
relate
and here's the reality of being a great baseball player is this: is that if you are such a great baseball player, like they claim in this book, and that you're trying to tell me, then Tom Brady would have been drafted out of high school, highly in baseball, had he been such a great baseball player. But the fact of the matter is, he was a good baseball player. You can be all-state without being a draftable player. Just because he was good in high school, that does not mean that he was. And when you look at the numbers, Tom Brady's not a great athlete. I'm sorry, he's not very athletic. He's
great
not.
Athlete.
However,
Best
you
quarterback in the
can
NFL,
be a. No, he's not. Aaron Rodgers is.
Well, I agree with
you.
that,
Can be a phenomenal at a niche job, right? Which is being a quarterback.
Right.
Think about it. To be a cornerback, you have to be good at multiple jobs. You have to be part receiver, part defender, part linebacker.
Fast.
Same thing with linebackers. So the quarterback position is a niche position. It's almost like a kicker.
Funny you're saying this to me right now because last week on this very show, George, the Unafraid Show on Dash Talk Live, George Rice, Eric Peterson, you told me when I sat there and said the importance of a single player, you told me that like the quarterback is the most important position on the field.
It is.
Okay, so if it is the most important position on the field, okay, then you would want to make sure that it's in the hands of a great athlete.
No,
a guy
that's
that's
not
smart, precise, throws one of the hardest footballs in the league.
This is the most flawed.
And is a winner.
This is the most flawed piece of reasoning that you have.
No. Most coaches, and actually in the book, it actually goes to say this, and actually scouts have said this about as well. Watching Tom Brady, you only have to tell Tom Brady something once during practice, George, and when Sunday comes around, Monday or Thursday, whenever the Patriots are playing, Tom Brady's going to get it in a precise form. Tom Brady's a great leader.
He's fantastic at that. I am in 100% agreement
Maybe
with
Peyton Manning was better at this because at the time
Peyton Manning wasn't a great athlete either.
But he was a great pre-snap, guy reading defenses. Tom Brady arguably is the best pre-snap quarterback in the NFL. Would you not agree with me on that? Like when he goes and looks at the defense, he's already got.
Shit, he's been playing for 20 years. Well, of course, he should be able to recognize defenses.
Here's what makes him a great athlete, George. Let me explain to you. How many times has Tom Brady been hurt? Once that we can think of, and we're going to get into this fixing.
Wait, hold on. So, all right.
Hold on. That has something to me.
That does
he
not.
He got a knee injury, a severe knee injury.
Wait, hold on. So, by this ridiculous theory, by this ridiculous theory, Bo Jackson is a worse athlete than Tom Brady.
On longevity of an athlete.
Oh my God!
Bo Jackson could run faster than Tom Brady.
Okay,
they do all those, but it's different. It's different. We're talking like the most top, like Deion Sanders, like the top athletes that can run. I understand what you're trying to say on that, but longevity, being able to show up. There was something about Brett Favre. Okay, you knew. No matter if he had a broken finger.
That doesn't make him a great athlete. That makes him tough. That makes him strong. Right. That makes him.
You gotta have that. I think when you say great athlete, George, you're encompassing everything.
No,
not just peripheral numbers. You know
I'm talking about Tom because our debate earlier was about whether Tom Brady's. No. It was about his athleticism. Tom Brady is a phenomenal athlete because phenomenal professional athlete because he's one of the greatest to ever play a professional sport. If you are a professional, if you get paid to play a sport, you are an athlete, okay? You are a professional athlete. But then There is a separate issue, which is a metric of your athleticism. And Tom Brady, I don't even know why we're having this debate. Tom Brady's athleticism is at the bottom of the food chain in terms of professional athletes. Is he extremely talented at reading defenses, being accurate, all of these things?
He's the best quarterback to ever play the game.
That doesn't make you very athletic.
He has to be.
Hold on.
He keeps himself in great shape.
No. He keeps himself in great shape for a quarterback. He can't go if Tom Brady were to get.
That's apples and oranges, George. Of course.
That's the whole point. Tom Brady cannot run away from anybody. He cannot catch anything.
Okay,
he cannot do anything athletic.
Number wise, okay, I'm going to give you John Elway or Tom Brady.
No. I'm saying no. We're
but that's the same position. We're talking about the whole thing on the field.
We're talking about. I already conceded that Tom Brady is a great athlete because he is successful at being a professional athlete. If you are successful at being a professional athlete and you are a Hall of Fame player, that makes you a great athlete, okay? A great professional athlete.
But George,
however,
how many guys? Let me just say.
Hold on. His athleticism is not at the top of the food chain. His athleticism is at the bottom of the food chain.
But it doesn't have to be at the top. And here's the thing, even his coach.
Bill
Belichick would be in your corner on this. Bill Belichick actually said what you're saying, that Tom Brady is not the greatest athlete, but he's the smartest, most precise. So yeah, for him, it doesn't matter if he runs a 4.45.
Eric,
it doesn't matter if he takes his shirt off and looks like Hulk Hogan.
Eric, you tried to argue to me that his athleticism was at a high level because he played baseball in high school.
Because there's a certain thing. There's certain people that are able to do things, and this is talent. Okay, there's a lot of talent that comes involved in this. Okay, that we're going to say he's maybe the most talented quarterback. Okay, because he has to be. Because obviously we're saying he's more cerebral.
No, he's not the most talented. He's not the most physically gifted.
Right,
Michael Jordan was not the most physically gifted basketball player of all time.
Let me take Wayne Gretzky. Wayne Gretzky couldn't skate fast. You take his shirt off, you're like, okay, does he play golf? But is Wayne Gretzky the greatest hockey player ever to play?
Probably, yeah.
No question. Because so it doesn't matter.
But however, Wayne Gretzky also still had to do all of the things that everybody else had to do on the ice. He had to skate. He had to bump into people. Tom Brady doesn't have to do that. He doesn't have to run away from anybody. He doesn't have to do all these agile things because he cannot. He cannot do it. And you have to concede the fact that while Tom Brady is a phenomenal quarterback, it's a niche job. It requires a special set of skills that the other positions don't need, right?
Sure.
Okay. So, but however,
you don't have to be
his
the most
athleticism,
imposing person to play quarterback.
Correct. And his athleticism
and still be great.
But okay, so who's a better athlete? We will go apples for apples. Whose athleticism is at a higher level? Russell Wilson or Tom Brady? Stop it.
I already know who the better quarterback is.
No. I said because you tried to argue. No, hold on. You tried to argue. Stay on topic. You tried to argue to me.
He's a great athlete.
No, you tried to argue with me that his athleticism metrics are very high because he was a high school baseball player.
Phenom at high school.
He was not a damn phenom. If he was a phenom, he would have been drafted.
To Alabama, Michigan, and he got people
in football. Yes,
I did not know this. Okay,
and the point is,
you had to be. Look, if you're going to sit there and choose a quarterback, we would make the mistake, George, of looking at numbers. You know this.
I'm not saying that you need to look at numbers.
But you know this. Okay, Mike Mamula, I bring this name up, was a linebacker, set records at the combine, this and that. And you know what? Mike Mamula played, a few years in the NFL and was thrown aside. Being a great muscle or speed or whatever doesn't necessarily matter. that it's not the end all of you being a great athlete.
I never said that.
But here's the thing.
It doesn't matter.
Tom Brady proves, and it's great that there's Tom Brady's out there. And it's great that there's guys that aren't necessarily by the numbers what, scouts look for. Oh, this debate. Oh, quarterback should be 6'4", 6'5", 225.
Here's the
really?
There is no argument there. I 100% agree that you cannot base a person's talent at how good they're going to be based upon metrics. Because if you were going to judge that, Michael Jordan wouldn't be the best of all time.
Sure.
Kobe Bryant would not be in that position. Larry Bird would not be in that conversation. However, when you are just comparing athleticism, because you tried to tell me that Tom Brady's athleticism is at the top of the food chain because he played high school baseball, and there are two separate things. Like I should tell this to Maurice Jones-Drew all the time. He tried to say that he was like, George, I'm a better athlete than you. And I was like, absolutely not. I was like, Maurice, because the only thing that you can do is play football. I was all state, had basketball scholarships, baseball, football. I can do more than one thing. I'm great at ping pong, good at golf, can do anything.
That's amazing.
You are good at one thing. So there's a difference between Maurice Jones-Drew. He is technically more athletic than I am because he can run faster, jump higher. Well, he can't anymore.
No,
but
we've seen Maurice.
But he could
great
run,
analyst, by the way.
He could run faster. He could jump higher. He could, his agility was better.
Sure.
However,
but that
he was not a better.
Hold
on, but he was not a better athlete than me. He was a better running back than I would have been. However, he was not a better athlete. And however, to be a great athlete, you have to. It's a like if hold on. It's a kind of like Ashton Eaton, who won the last 2 gold medals in the decathlon, where they do 10 events in the Olympics and they figure out who the best so that makes him the best athlete, right? In the entire world, because although
look,
hold on.
Aside from the bottom line is, are you a better player? Are you?
No, that doesn't make you more athletic.
But I think it does. In the eyes of what people look at, George, that's how we judge. If you're a better player,
dude, everybody is going to
you have to be
listen to
enough.
you, and they're going to think that you are a crazy man.
Why? You have to be athletic enough to play, George. It's not like a guy off the street, you know this better than anybody, can ascend to that level, no matter if they have certain skills, no matter how smart they are. You have to be athletic enough to be able to throw the ball 50 or 60 yards down the field.
Does Tom Brady have more arm talent and ability? No, hold on. Than the average guy sitting on the couch? Yes.
Of course.
However,
he's got more than most of the quarterbacks playing in the NFL.
No.
Yes.
No.
George,
has.
This is amazing for me to say, because I didn't think that as well. I, like you, was at a point. I looked at Tom Brady. I think he has career rushing yards 20 yards. Okay, it's actually kind of funny how few yards Tom Brady's actually
he runs like his feet hurt.
But here's the thing. He doesn't have to be that way. Okay. You know what Tom's really good at, George? You know what Tom's really good at? And you can say his feet. He's really good at sensing where the pressure's coming. Yeah. He steps up to where there's
he's a phenomenal quarterback.
He gives himself an extra second to get the, and that's all that matters, because his precision, his arm strength.
He is a great quarterback. He is an awful athlete.
Okay.
The other thing that's been dominating the news over the last day or two has been the Dallas Mavericks, and Mark Cuban. He was on the jump with Rachel Nichols yesterday, and he was talking about what happened in his organization, because they had a CEO, his name is Usuri, who was the CEO when Mark Cuban bought the Dallas Mavericks. And before Mark Cuban bought it, Ross Perot owned it, and Mark Cuban just went and bought the Mavericks. It took 6 weeks for him to do it. He didn't know anybody there. And he did what great leadership, people in great leadership do, which is they let the people below them do their job and don't really like bother them and micromanage them, right? The only problem with that is that Usuri was a predator. They found like 250, they interviewed everybody at the Mavericks organization, past, people. Present. Yeah. They looked over like 1.9 million documents, emails, all of this stuff. And they found that this dude had been a predator to so many people, to so many women, grabbing them, putting their hand between their thighs, all of this stuff. And nobody has ever said that Mark Cuban knew any of this. And I found it, I actually, when I watched the interview with Rachel Nichols, I enjoyed it because it was one of the best apologies and taking accountability things that I've ever seen. Urban Meyer needed to be watching it, taking notes, studying, but maybe it's just because Mark Cuban actually cares. And Urban Meyer is tone deaf. But I digress. Mark Cuban, he said his rationale for not knowing that this was going on was that he was running 2 other businesses.
He's a busy man.
Yeah, and he was doing TV shows, all of this stuff, and that he didn't, and being that nobody ever told him about this, that he was like, okay, everything is going fine. I have an experienced person running it. Like, if anybody had a complaint, nobody told me. So that's why I can't be mad at Mark Cuban. How am I supposed to be mad at Mark Cuban when he sat there on television and was like, I'm going to get this fixed. I did not have a clue it was going on. I thought I had great people running my organization, and clearly I don't. So I actually need to be more micromanaging than...
More vigilant, yeah.
And that's not his management style.
No,
dude, when you're the CEO of 3 different companies, how are you supposed to...
Let's just make this clear. Let me just make a statement. I've talked to Mark Cuban before.
Yeah.
I like Mark Cuban. He's a very, very smart guy. He's very talented at creating something, building something. He's a guy you want in your corner. There's no question about it. To me, though, the way that Mark Cuban cares about the Dallas Mavericks, the way we've seen him in the crowd continually. We've seen him, with players' recruitment, with players, his relationship with Dirk Nowitzki. I just find it slightly hard to believe, George, that when you own a company the way Mark Cuban does, and he owns
more than one.
I know, but this is something that is his thing, because this thing puts him in the spotlight. This thing gets him involved with sports, which he absolutely loves. I mean, there's really, out of all the owners, there's fewer bigger fans of his team and being there and being supportive than Mark Cuban, because Mark actually got into it with some referees. He's made a name for himself. He's used this pulpit to make him even a bigger star than his TV show and the other things that Mark has going on. And yeah, I watched that apology. I thought it was great. I thought it was sincere. But I still don't believe that Mark Cuban, when you run a business, you run your unafraidshow.com, other people that we know run their own businesses, that you don't know someone had to have stepped up and reached out to somebody before this even became
that's
the story that it did. The NBA had to investigate.
No, hold on. Mark Cuban voluntarily went in and made sure that every document was available.
Well, he had to. He had to as well.
Well, he could have been. He didn't have to be as forthcoming like the Carolina Panthers former owner. He wasn't very cooperative with them. But the reality is this: is that when you're managing multiple companies, hundreds or thousands of potential employees, and nobody ever says anything to you because remember, he had a CEO, he had an HR department, and none of those people, obviously because the CEO was the offender, the biggest offender, and it wasn't everybody, it was just a couple people within the organization, particularly the CEO. So nobody came to Mark Cuban. So if you are a business owner before today, right? Before 2017, 18, when you understand that you have to go in and check on these things.
Well, you would think you would do that naturally.
No. Nobody, no
when
business.
You own a business like that, you want to know what's going on.
No business owner who owns multiple companies is walking down, until recently, is going down or sending an email to HR and being like, oh, is everything cool? Because the whole job of HR is to solve these things, and then if things escalate, then they bring it to you. So nobody. It's kind of like you. If your son, if he gets in trouble for making guns, right, and you're like, why would I have needed to ask my son, is he making guns? I mean, so you can't ask a question about something that you don't believe is a problem out of thin air.
But it's hard for me to believe, though, and I realize that. But the perception of it, George, many people still think you're the head of this.
You are responsible for it.
There has to be some sense of action in which you make it known to Mark Cuban that he needs to be a little bit more vigilant to figure out what's happening. Instead of finding, whether it was Tardima Ursary or whether it was Chris Hyde in the department.
From the time that Mark Cuban
1.6 million documents and emails were looked at with some seriously inappropriate stuff going on. And when you're a company, like, remember that they say, George, when you're at work, you better watch what you're firing off because somehow they'll be able to figure it out. Okay.
But the whole point is Mark Cuban has been, ever since he found out, he has been vigilant about cleaning up his company.
Yeah, sure.
Helping people. He is. But
$10 million he donated to
But until
charity.
If you are ignorant to something, that's just like you being if you get a notice in the mail and you find out that how long have you been married?
Oh, I'm going to be at 20 years.
Yeah.
20 years.
So you're going to be 20 years, and then you get a letter in the mail from a collection agency, and you find out that your wife is $100,000 in debt because of a secret she's been keeping from you. You're not thinking to ask your wife every single day, like, oh, are you in debt? Are you running guns to China?
Right,
are you keeping
trust
correct
your wife to make the right decision?
And after you find out that is going on, your job is to then be proactive and do the right thing, which is Mark Cuban. But you apparently want Mark Cuban suspended or something for something. If he had known anything, I would 100% agree that he should have some sort of disciplinary action. But at the point in time that you don't know anything, that you are trusting people who are professionals and good at doing their job.
Let's look at some examples.
How much can
Robert Kraft. Let's use some examples. Robert Kraft of the New England Patriots.
Yep.
Do you think he knew that Deflategate was going on? Do you think he knew Videogate was going on? But did his team, did he suffer consequences of? Did they lose draft picks? Did they get fined? He did he not? Because he was what?
He himself, he himself was not penalized. The reality is that the Mavericks organization has to be revamped, reworked, all of this. And the problem with what Mark Cuban did, as opposed to what was going on with the Mavericks, as opposed to what was going on with Bill Belichick and the team and Tom Brady and anybody else that knew about any of this stuff, right? Is that these things actually affected the integrity of the game.
Right.
So when they affect the integrity of the game, you have to...
This hurts the brand, though.
This
hurts the brand. This hurts the Dallas Mavericks and the namesake of the NBA.
Exactly. So
that's probably worse than.
So who does that hurt? That hurts Mark Cuban.
Sure.
So Mark Cuban is going to be penalized and scrutinized, rightfully so, for this. But I cannot be upset with a man who did not know, and it was before the time. So if any other owner in the NBA has had this going on in his organization and has not, or in any sport, and has not looked into this now, because this, what happened with Jerry Richardson, with the Panthers,
Isaiah Thomas, when the Knicks, James Dolan and the female worker there,
and what happened with the Mavericks, what happened with the Panthers, those are teachable moments for everybody. So if any owner is being negligent, because now it's negligence, if you are not then asking questions. But if you're asking questions and people are lying to you, then there's nothing you can do about that. However, if you have to be asking those questions and making sure that you're aware.
Now what's going to happen? What's going to happen now is owners, and look, do I agree with you that the Cuban form, let workers do what they want to do?
Yeah.
Let them have their space. It's better than to sit there and micromanage everything. We all know that.
Yeah.
The worker has freedom. But unfortunately, what this has done, what Usuri has done, what Hyde did, what they discovered now is, I think, presidents and CEO, owners of teams are going to be a little bit more proactive to find out and check in with human resources.
Yeah, and
to check with the conduct of policies within the workplace.
Yeah, but the only way that they can do. But if you're the CEO and you're a CEO,
not that they shouldn't already be this. We're the time where it should be.
A huge company. If you're a CEO of a huge company, at that point in time, yes, you do need to check in. But truth be told, when you're so far at the top, you are making executive level decisions, doing all these things. So you can't be micromanaging what the guy in the mailroom's doing. So that's why you have people below you that answer to those people.
Sure.
So you as the owner then have to be vigilant about the people who work below you to say, listen, you got to find out what's going on. I want to report about this. I want these questions asked. And then if you get it then and your company gets a quote unquote clean bill of health, and then something comes out, now it's not on you. It's then on the person. And now you can look and say, look, I did this, this, and this to take these steps to fix my company. And this turd still sat there and tried to ruin what we have going on there. So I give Mark Cuban a huge marks for responsibility, for being a quality human being who cares about other people, because his apology was not only sincere, it was everything that you wanted. It acknowledged who the offending parties were, which were those 15, 18 women or whatever, and all the bad things that happened to them. So he acknowledged it. He took accountability for it.
He's proactive.
And is doing things to change it and make things better. I don't know what else you want to do.
Look, I mean, I looked at it and you could see the sincerity because he was devastated. He literally was devastated. I thought Mark Cuban was going to cry.
For sure.
I thought he was going to cry. And in a sense, it's because, let's face it, this is his darling. This is, as I said to you, how he's recognized more than anything else. Even Shark Tank, other things that Mark has done, the companies that he's in control of. The Dallas Mavericks represent Mark Cuban.
Yep.
Mark Cuban is probably one of the most popular owners in all of sports.
Well, for sure, most recognizable.
Most recognizable. One of them. Jerry Jones also is very recognizable. There's a few owners that make themselves very prevalent, and you see them, and Mark Cuban is one of those guys.
For sure.
So, yeah, you felt that. My whole thing, you're Adam Silver. You're the NBA. You did this investigation, which was, 7 months in the making. You've got all this stuff going on. I still am bringing Mark Cuban into my office, and I'm going to be like, look, I know you got other things going on, and you're an amazing business guy. This crap, what I have in front of me, you need to be more vigilant on. I have
hold on. What is the
I have to make you an example for others to understand the importance of this. I'm suspending you for 6 months.
Dude, that is the most outrageous idea ever.
No, it's not. You're representing the company, George.
So you're going to suspend... Hold on.
In your company.
Dude, that's like saying that you had somebody raping somebody in the mailroom, and then nobody reports it to HR, or people do report it to HR, and then HR does nothing.
That these people deserve to be fired and removed, and of course, Mark.
He had all the proper steps in place, and so if you are the owner and you have an HR department, you have a CEO, hold on. You cannot go down and ask every single employee.
Represents who you are.
You cannot go down and ask, like you really have to be realistic about this and think big picture about it. Which is, you can't expect Mark Cuban to go interview every employee once a month.
Fine, we know that's not going to happen.
So HR is in place for a reason.
Right, sure.
So if
every company has one.
So and if
big company has a human resource department.
And if people reported, if the ladies reported it to HR, right? If HR did nothing or reported it to the CEO. And then the CEO obviously did nothing because he's the CEO. And it was about him. So what would you have liked Mark Cuban to do, knowing that he specifically even asked after the stuff happened with like Isaiah Thomas and all of that.
Right,
he
specifically
asked how are things in our company, all of this, and they gave him glowing reports. So, what else would you have liked the man to do?
Look, Mark could have done and he did all the right things. I am not questioning that. How?
So, if somebody is doing all the right, hold on. So, if somebody is doing all the right things, he's done all the right things, asked all the right questions up until this point. How on earth can you justify wanting to suspend somebody because who did the right things?
Because the league's integrity, because this particular franchise overlooked actions that were going on, whether it was the emails, what actually transpired, the sexual harassment, violence, all the stuff that was put in this investigation.
You know what you sound like right now? You sound like those people
It is the integrity of the league, George. Who else is going to take the suspension? Other people had nothing to do with this?
No.
You're going to suspend the coach?
No.
You're going to suspend players? No. You take the guy who runs the operation. Okay?
Eric, if the guy who runs the organization did nothing wrong and took steps to make sure that everything is in place, it doesn't matter.
It still represents
hold on.
Just because Mark Cuban didn't do anything, his company wasn't involved in.
No. What I'm saying is that Mark Cuban took the proper steps and all the things that he needed to do up until that point.
I agree. I understand that.
So that's like saying that that Bill Gates is responsible for, if he asked all the right questions, did all the right things, if somebody who's under him in the company, if they're committing crimes, if they're embezzling money, if they're doing stuff, that's then his fault? No, the answer is no. And the reality of it is this, Eric, is that you sound like you're like, somebody's got to be punished. Dude, you sound like people who were like, oh, there's a murder, somebody's got to go to jail. It doesn't matter if the right person goes to jail. Just, there has been a murder, somebody's got to get convicted of murder. That's the same thing.
No, it does not. No, because we're talking about a company. You're talking about the company Mark Cuban owns.
So,
George, if you own your company, yes, it's negligence.
No, hold on. So you said out of your own mouth, because you can't have it both ways. You said that Mark Cuban did all the right things and took all the right steps.
Okay,
hold on.
You're going and applying this that Mark doesn't. We hope Mark doesn't know anything.
Mark does that, dude. They interview. Hold on.
No, no one has come forward to speak on this quite yet.
Eric, they interviewed.
You presume.
No. The findings of the report of over 215 people. Hold on.
I got it.
1.6 million documents.
Right.
None of them even in the inkling implied that Mark Cuban knew anything. So if you are the owner of the company, nobody tells you anything, you don't know anything, it's proven that you don't know anything, there's nothing that, like, you can't go to suspend the guy. and you can't, in your own words. I mean,
but he doesn't
actually,
own the NBA.
You can't actually.
But she doesn't own the NBA. The NBA is its own entity that he has
doesn't matter.
Piece of the pie.
Is if you do nothing wrong, you should not be punished for doing nothing wrong.
Well, what did Robert Kraft do in Deflategate? What did Robert Kraft do in Videogate? His team team lost. Wait a minute. Hold on.
His team was
no, George.
Because they violated the integrity of the game.
What am I saying here? He's violating integrity of not knowing workers within his own company committing serious acts.
Robert Kraft did not get punished himself.
Yes,
they did not. Hold on.
Did they get fined?
They did not.
Did they lose draft picks? Did Tom Brady miss 3 games?
If the league wants to fine Mark Cuban, okay, fine. But in terms of suspending him,
but that's what you just said.
There's a reason why they didn't suspend Robert Kraft for all the Deflategate or the Spygate stuff or the tampering or any of this. There's a reason why they didn't suspend him for it. There's a reason why other people have had to deal with consequences.
Sure,
like
but it impacted his product. It impacted his team.
And it's going to impact Mark Cuban's team as well.
They're changing a whole bunch of things within the organization.
But you can't try to suspend a guy when a guy, in your even own admission, did everything
from
right.
What I've read, George, from what I've read, from what I've heard, we can say that he did the right things.
Okay,
we can say that he did the right things. So no one has come forward to say it, but still, and I know how devastated he is over this.
Okay, so what do you want the man to do?
Look, it's not even up to him, really, George. It's up to Adam Silver.
He's not going to suspend him, and he should not suspend him.
Okay,
but on to the next sport. And a lot lighter topic. Major League Baseball. They did something which was just, I mean.
I need some water. I need some water.
I get the sentiment. I get it because we all want to raise awareness for causes. But MLB thought it was a great idea to raise awareness for those who are blind. Okay, good. This sounds like a great idea. All the makings of a great idea.
Yeah.
Because we support ALS, we support mental health, we support cancer, we support all these issues.
Right. Why not helping people that obviously were born being blind, which is a horrible thing.
But the problem is that they decided to put
right now. Why are we smiling, George?
The problem is that they decided to put the Braille on the Baltimore Orioles jerseys. And while it's great to bring awareness,
can I make a comedy about this just for a quick moment?
Okay.
If there was any team that you root for, George, in Major League Baseball this season that you wish that you were blind and didn't have to see,
it's the Baltimore Orioles.
It's the Baltimore Orioles.
Yeah.
Okay, they have by far one of the worst records in baseball history. They could have, and Caleb Joseph, who's their catcher, in refreshing statement, basically just said to the media, "We suck." Okay, you don't ever hear, no matter bad it gets, he basically just said, "We suck." So if there was a team where, again, you might not want to see what they're doing on the field, it's your Baltimore Orioles. So,
yeah, dude,
putting Braille on the uniform.
So they put Braille, but not actual Braille, because to read Braille, you actually have to feel it. No, it's actually like flat. It's not raised. And then the other part about it is, okay, so you put Braille on the uniforms. How does this translate to, like, blind people can't even see it?
Well, do we know, was the Orioles having, maybe they had, there's always kind of promotions and stuff like that. Was there, maybe they had people from, suffering from blindness that had a special ticket giveaway. I don't know. That might have been something to this.
Really? So you're going to bring blind people to a baseball game?
Well, I mean, hey, they can hear it. You have a radio. You're there. It's kind of cool to say, hey, I was at a baseball game. Why should that stop you from enjoying it? Yes,
I totally agree with you there, because you can feel the energy. You can feel the ambiance.
You're in an atmosphere. Why should you stop going somewhere just because you can't see it?
Correct. But we're talking exclusively about the uniforms, bro. The uniforms. So listen, the only way that this can make sense as a gimmick is that during the broadcast, if they had put up some sort of like hotline number at the bottom, donate to people, help out, like start a new sign language class in your neighborhood. Learn how to sign, like something. Oh no, I'm sorry. Sign language doesn't help you. So with the Braille, right? Like start a new Braille Institute, something. Like, so I can understand if the gimmick's there, but like this felt too gimmicky for me.
Well, baseball is trying to figure out some changes to help the game, George. I don't necessarily know if this is going to be something that's going to make it more exciting for people.
I'm not in on.
They're trying to get some more blind people to the park by this action.
Dude, I'm not in on the gimmicks. Okay. I'm not in on the gimmicks.
No.
But the gimmicks though.
I feel bad because maybe they had to have something going on in the park.
No. What it is this. When you don't have enough people who ideas get run by, you get stuff like this. Because this is clear bad ideas situation. If you have anybody working in your company, if you have enough people that this has to pass through, somebody's going to be like, why are we doing this? Like, how on earth does this?
You're talking about some kind of quality control, like the consensus group. That before we present this idea, let's think about this. Okay,
like every idea needs to go through like a 5-person panel focus group, and they all need to be different. You need to pass through a woman, a man, a black guy, white guy, rich person, poor person. Like it just needs to be. Like
looked at, discussed, and
to where
pros and cons.
Yeah,
there's a board here. Like there's a pros and cons to this. Okay, what do we got? Why are we doing this? We're not quite sure why they did this.
Yeah, but these gimmicks in sports are like continuously going on.
Why does baseball have this like strangest and craziest gimmicks? Do they need it so much? I mean, way back in the day, George, there was one of the greatest gimmicks of all time. And Bill Veeck, White Sox owner, way back in the day, used to pull some dandy ones out. He actually signed to a contract, George, a vertically challenged player, put him out there in a uniform, and he got 4 straight balls, walked to first base. That was one of the more edgy kind of things, but he also did crazy gimmicks, disco nut, all kinds of strange gimmicks. Like baseball is in itself, you have something like bobbleheads. There's always something to draw you in. But gimmicks in sports,
I am out on the gimmicks, and gimmicks are running.
This doesn't sound like one that would have any benefit to many people.
but
including the blind.
Gimmicks are running rampant in sports in general, and you know where it's running the most rampant? College football, bro. College football. Because it started with Miami and the turnover chain, which is actually kind of dope. Like it's got real diamonds, it's gold, like it's dope. So whenever somebody gets a turnover at Miami, whoever gets an interception, fumble, recovery, whatever, they get the turnover chain. They get to wear the turnover chain. Then you got all sorts of teams. You got Tennessee, who had a turnover trash can. It was a gray, like Rubbermaid tub.
Ugly looking.
With like the Vols checkerboard on it. And it was the turnover trash can. Florida State, the turnover backpack, bro. The turnover backpack, like, so whoever gets a turnover puts on a Louis Vuitton backpack, like, ooh, yeah, I got the turnover backpack. Do you realize how cumbersome that is when you're playing football? Because when you come off the field, you sit on the bench.
Yeah.
You want to sit back on the bench. Now you got this backpack on that they don't want you, this $10,000 backpack on that they don't want you to mess up. So you can't like lay back on the seat. So they're giving you instructions. Okay, so make sure you don't lean against the bench so we don't like scrape the backpack. And dude, if you have to give the backpack with the gimmick with an instruction manual.
Let's not have it then. I think that's something that needs to go away then, if that's the case. First of all, it doesn't look good unless you're. I guess, college athlete could get away with the backpack.
No, bro.
That's like where's the line on that? For us guys wearing jersey to games, really shouldn't be guys. You really should be maybe a teenager. You can get it. Guys or dads wearing jerseys of other guys' names on there.
Unless you're related to them.
Unless you're related. Right, a family member. That's a good point.
Yeah, or very, very close.
Close. Yeah, you shouldn't be wearing that. It's kind of a silly thing. It's kind of gimmicky. But what age, like my son still has, in high school, he has like what age is the backpack not cool? Like now you see they have like the cool rollers.
No, dude, the rollers are not cool.
Some of them are cool.
No. They're cool to you because you're an old dad. But they're not cool.
No, okay. Backpacks are cooler?
Yeah, dude, I'm 37 years old. I still rock a backpack.
You still have the backpack going on?
Yeah, because so I carry my computer, carry chargers, carry cameras, all of this stuff.
Right. I have my bag.
So,
I have a bag that I carry my
So
stuff
why on earth? And then if I put it on one shoulder, right? Then that shoulder gets tired, and then my back starts hurting.
So you're evening it off with the backpack.
Correct, dude.
I see.
Backpacks are cool. Turnover backpacks, whack. Crack is whack. Turnover backpacks are whack.
We'll have to hear what the fans think about that. Here
Dude, everybody, the backpacks?
No, I think it's a passing thing.
Do you realize how many people professional people use backpacks? It all depends on how your backpack looks. Like I don't have Rainbow Bright and He-Man. No, and
what do you sport? What's your?
And I'm not rocking like a damn JanSport.
I'm going to take a guess, just being in your studio here. It's the Oregon Ducks backpack.
Nope.
No team paraphernalia.
No, it's actually an OG. No, it's actually an OGO backpack. I think that's how you pronounce it.
OGO is very quality.
Yes. So it's got good straps on the shoulders, got a little padding, ergonomically designed, got padding on the back, got a little cooling thing in the back. That way your back, because if you wear a backpack enough,
this is like high tech backpacks. I'm learning.
Your backpack gets so if you don't have the little vent in there, you hold a backpack on long enough, your back gets sweaty.
Yeah, well, out here, depending where you live, that's just gonna happen.
You know? Yeah, but you wouldn't know because you don't carry because you're not cool enough to carry a backpack.
Well, maybe we're gonna change that. Maybe we'll see how that kind of rolls.
Dude, you have to be willing to carry a backpack, dude.
You know what we need to change, George?
What?
You know we got to change. Let's segue into this. Let's figure out a way. You watched the fight on Saturday night.
Yeah.
Canelo Alvarez.
Yep.
And of course Triple G.
Yep. Triple G got robbed.
Okay. I saw the first fight, and I'm still wondering how someone could score the fight 118 to 110 for Alvarez in a fight. The first time that they fought,
it was bogus, bro.
Golovkin won. Okay, he won going. I thought won by at least 2 rounds.
Yeah,
at least it was still close. Alvarez was
but it was a clear victory.
But it was a clear victory for Triple G. So it ended in a draw. Now Saturday night, again, I told you my reasons. I really didn't want to pony up the cash.
Yeah.
Canelo cheated. Okay.
Yep.
So some of the luster of this fight kind of, and I would love to see the numbers. I'll find out what the numbers are to see how they did on this pay-per-view. They probably did pretty well because still,
they
probably better fights that you're going to.
Yeah, they probably had close to or at about 1 million buys. Probably.
Okay. And these two, let's face it, they're two of the best buys. One's kind of on his way out. One's still escalating because of the age factor. Okay? So they fought Saturday night. I saw a ton of people, whether it was through tweets, whether it was Teddy Atlas on ESPN blowing a casket, basically saying this is robbery without the use of gloves. Okay, so judges basically gave a decision to Canelo Alvarez when he didn't deserve it. I looked at the numbers. Okay, let me just explain real quickly. Because if we're asking these judges, now there's 3 judges, okay, ringside, and we're sitting there judging it, and we have, I'm guessing Howard Letterman, the guy that does HBO, was giving the scores as he saw fit, which is great. Yeah. Okay.
I got it 6 rounds to 3.
Jim, I got it 6-3. Canelo is taking it right to Golovkin. Right? You hear that crazy voice, and you feel like he's usually right near the ballpark of where it is. And I believe he had Triple G winning too.
Yeah.
Okay? What can we do to make this better? Because
here's
I have a theory. And I don't know why this isn't done. Because we're in modern times, right? Why not have a scoreboard for the fight? They're in these arenas. Have a scoreboard. And I realize the judges have, 30 seconds, really. That's kind of a tight... I'm not saying this is easy. Because, again, it's what you see, what you perceive. We're asking these guys not to look at what the other... Because all the judges are in different areas, so they can't even do that. Hey, what'd you think? You don't have time to really have any help on this. What did you see? Who had the higher percentage punches? Who had the power punches? Who was the aggressor? So there's all these things that you got to do just to judge this thing, which isn't easy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm not saying this is easy. But why not maybe put an extra 20 seconds in between rounds, have an electrical thing where they have to type in who won the round, and goes up on the scoreboard, so the fighters and the cornermen can look up and go, what? Okay, guess what? We got to say, we're not getting any help from these judges. They're aggressive.
I have a reason why that won't happen.
Okay.
Number one, and most importantly, it makes too much sense. Because the reality of it is this. Boxing, I would not trust boxing judges to judge an elementary school talent contest. I wouldn't. And secrecy only makes people's mind wander. Because the mind wanders in the absence of knowledge. In the absence of information. The mind starts to wander. So the boxing judges, everything is cloaked in secrecy until you just hear it read. And
so
sometimes
it does build up the drama too. Let's face it,
sometimes it takes a while to get it from the judges up to when it's announced. And it feels like at times that there could be some wishy-washy funny business going on. And if you want to, and remember, people love blood and gore. Back to the gladiator days, people want to see knockouts. And I believe that you would see, it would be do boxing a huge service to obviously have more knockouts. And I believe that you would get more knockouts if fighters knew the score. And not necessarily that they would press and knock the other fighter out, but they may press and get knocked out too.
Right, true. It goes both ways.
Yeah, so I think that it would liven up the fights a bit. I don't think that you need to put on which judge made which ruling simply because it could put the judges in danger. However, I do believe that just posting a scoreboard, because every other sport has a scoreboard, even in gymnastics where things are subjective. After each event, figure skating, after each event, rhythmic gymnastics after every event.
How about synchronized swimming?
Synchronized swimming, diving, all of that.
Yeah,
you see the scores immediately. And then you know what you need to do for your next dive, for your next competition, for your next event.
That's what I think makes this so smart. This is what they should do. Now, I heard Jim Lampley. We've had Jim Lampley on this very show. Also basically say that the Boxing Commission prevents these judges from doing any media.
I 100% am in favor of that.
Okay, I'll ask you why. Because I really want to know, like, let's go back to the first fight between these two.
Yep.
Because obviously they're working their way to the trilogy. That's obviously going to happen probably
hold on.
in December.
Real quick, though, the other point I wanted to make about the fight is that it is very, very questionable. Another thing that was questionable about the fight to me is Triple G has been known his entire career for having so much power. And then Canelo was hesitant to be a part of any of that power in the first fight.
Right.
But then he tests positive multiple times for meat, for Mexican meat, for steroids or performance enhancing drugs.
You say Canelo
in meat. But now all of a sudden in this fight, he's built for it tough, and he can just take all of Triple G's punches. Super suspect to me. Okay, but you can go on now. Well, super suspect.
My thought is this, okay, because I still want to know why a judge like from the first fight can score 118 to 110 Alvarez.
No,
I need questions. I want them to be at a podium, okay?
Yeah.
Just like the fighters are after even when you lose. Although I heard Triple G kind of stormed out of the ring because he was quite upset. I want you to sit there and explain to me, okay, why you saw this fight this way. I just want to know, and it's like not any vicious questions coming. What made you think that Canelo Alvarez won this fight? Two guys had it 115 to 113. One had it a draw. A lot of people said either it was Triple G who should have won or draw again, which obviously is not very sexy. But why can't they be put on the spot, George? Why do you think that the judges should not be able to explain themselves since they probably cost a lot of people a lot of money who are betting on this fight. And two,
I think it becomes
the fact we have to explain our job, or most people have to, athletes have to explain their performances when they don't want to. Coaches have to come out to a podium and sit there and explain why their team got beat. Well, you guys are deciding a factor in somebody's career. You know, now that Triple G has a loss for the first time in his career on his ledger, you should explain it. Why did you see it that way? And look, I told you, I looked at the stats, believe it or not.
That's an opportunity. Hold up. See, there's two parts to this. Is that boxing is missing an opportunity to make money there. Because if you had a show where you go through with the judges about how they scored a fight, do you realize how great a ratings that would get from boxing fans, first of all? But the reason why I agree with them not doing interviews is for one main and basic reason, is that then it puts them in jeopardy. Because I don't even like the judges' faces being shown. Because that allows people who gamble, people who are, because gambling brings a nefarious crowd on some level.
Sure.
The majority of people are people just gambling their hard-earned money and not doing anything criminal or illegal. However, there are some people who like to manipulate those things. And if you can see these judges, watch them on television, know who they are, they don't need facial recognition.
Well,
because it can then hurt the sport.
Okay, so you're saying just because they're having a post game, we'd be able to see their faces.
Yeah.
All right. So yeah, that is something. You're right. That to protect them, I guess maybe that's what they were thinking. That came across that, you know, that we should protect these people's their identities as far as being able to recognize them. But George, they're making a huge decision here. There has to be a reason why. I want to get inside the mind of why this one person found a fight to be so grossly one-sided at 118-110 the first time that they fought. What you saw, because we don't see the same thing. And you obviously feel that Triple G got robbed. Why do you feel so much? Because
I don't need the explanation. I just want to see I think the most important thing is to see the scores. Because if you see the scores in the arena, yes, the crowd's going to boo sometimes.
Sure.
Yes, they're going to be excited.
It's going to force a corner to maybe do something that they weren't going to do.
But that's boxing, though. Right. I mean, like, this is
you got to change your style. These two guys are great for one another, though, George. You can attest to it. You saw that. I saw the first fight. These two guys are made for each other. Their styles, how they fight. These two guys will probably get in a ring again, and it's going to be similar. It's going to be very close.
Yeah.
All right, because you feel, though, Triple G got robbed. So if I put George Reister in that judge's position, ringside, you would have scored the fight what? You know, two guys had it 115-113 for Alvarez, and one had it at a draw at 114-114. From your eyes, because and here's what's interesting. I didn't see it, right? But
I had it 115-113 the other way.
For Triple G.
Yep.
So it was close, though, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's
in the last round of the fight, because this is what Jim Lampley said. Jim still saw Triple G as well, but he said it was very close. But he said in that last round, either Triple G thought he already had the fight in the bag because he kind of laid off.
Yeah.
So he laid off in that last round, and you know this, George.
Yeah, but one round is that you always have to remember
the worst
is that
round to lay off is the last. You
have
to put on some kind of show.
How the 12th round is no more important than the second round.
I agree with you.
I
agree with you, but it's the last thing these judges see.
What does that have to do?
Because it's very close. Well, if they only had it and you had it 115-113, it's the last round that they get. Maybe they were
No. Even if they gave that round to Canelo, he still lost by a round, so he still lost. So the point is, the 12th round is no more important than the first round and the second round, because of the way that boxing is judged. So if you look bad in the last round, it should not have any effect, because you should not. I don't know if it happens, but you should not be allowed to go back and amend any of your scores, because of what you saw. So it doesn't matter what the last thing,
because they actually every round they have to hand in the score.
So
they can't do that. Even
so it doesn't matter what the last thing they saw is.
Well, let's face it though, George. You even said these were close scores, right? They were. If Golovkin did anything a little bit more shocking or a little bit more to his advantage in that last round, I'm guessing by what these scores, it could have been a draw. I don't think Golovkin would have switched because it was 2 rounds going to Alvarez, so it would have been a draw. It would have been a draw again, and I don't know. Look, they drew the first time. If they were determined, let's get a winner out of these, because who knows if they're going to have a third fight.
Dude, that was crooked as 2 left shoes. Dude.
So you're saying it's crooked. By what you witnessed, it was that crooked. Why?
Yes.
Because I'm just sitting here, George, and I'm telling you, on stats alone, okay? I didn't see the fight, and I'm with you. I'm like, look, Triple G, the first time they fought, he got robbed. Okay, let's face it. He won that fight. I think he won the fight. And he got a draw. So, okay, whatever. This fight, by looking at the numbers, Canelo had more punches, more power punches than Triple G did. His
but you have to remember
was
like
pretty much on
4%. Yeah. So here's the
So how would you
here is the part that you have to pay attention to in boxing is that when you look at total fight stats, they don't tell the entire story.
Sure.
Because
aggressor, who's being the aggressor?
Is that one part of the fight, right? So you can have a dominant round, right? And then or a dominant 2 rounds and gotten off 10, 12, 15 more punches and landed more punches in those 2 particular rounds. However, if I outpunched you in the other rounds and landed more notable shots, and mind you, he almost knocked Canelo out twice. He almost knocked him down twice. So, if you have the more meaningful punches, if you look at total stats, that does not mean how many rounds that you won. It could just mean that you had a couple really good rounds. That doesn't mean that you won the fight.
Right.
And it was
because
the rules are like ring generalship and all this,
right.
And it appeared to be what happened with the fight between Manny Pacquiao and the kid from Australia, Jeff Horn, is that he got the benefit of the doubt because he didn't get knocked out. Like that's what it appeared.
That to me, you want to talk about, and here's the problem with boxing, and this is the greatest ill of the sport, is that it's going to be left up to these judges a lot of the time, and we always hear, let's not leave it to the judges, let's take care of business, get this guy out while we have a chance, because you never know what the judges are going to come up with. You saw that fight, I saw that fight, and there's no way that Manny Pacquiao didn't win that fight.
Oh yeah,
okay. There's many cases in boxing in which we see controversial decisions.
And that's bad for the sport.
It's horrible.
Because if people are sitting there watching and they're like, oh, wow. Like they don't feel like they know.
It's going to end in some kind of controversy. And the thing is this. I love the sweet science. I love seeing 2 fighters like Canelo and Triple G battle each other. One might be a little past his prime. Why we all are jonesing to see Wilder and Joshua, which we are hopefully going to get next year, okay, if everything goes right. We love big fights because there's some aura about it. There's a big thing about it. But when the decision is done by 3 judges and you get these erroneous scores or you get these decisions that leave you scratching your head, there's always a saying, there's really no bad publicity because right now, you and I are talking about this, okay?
No, there's
people
definitely
like this fact, and maybe that's the side of boxing. They enjoy the fact that there's going to be controversy. There's going to be drama. It is a big build-up when you get the scores because you just really don't know when you've seen a fight that's really close like this was. Just find a way to make it more transparent. Make it, like you just said and I said, an ability for the crowd to know what the score is, to allow the corners, because I think it would actually improve the sport, allow us to see more knockouts. I enjoy when two guys get in a ring and battle it out for 12 rounds too, just like they did.
Yeah.
And then you sit there and you're going to take a side, or you feel someone did something better. One guy was the better counterpuncher. One guy was the aggressor. You got to add all these. It's not easy to be a judge. I'm not saying it's an easy job, okay? But sometimes you get fooled by a fighter too, George. I'm going to mention a name, Sugar Ray Leonard, okay, Hall of Fame boxer. There was a fight against Marvin Hagler.
Yeah.
Way back in the day. And Sugar Ray did something to make the judges perceive something that he clearly won the fight, because he stole the last 30 seconds of that every round of the fight.
Yeah.
When Hagler completely outworked him, completely was the aggressor, and in many people's minds won that fight, but Sugar Ray did something, because even in my mind I thought the same thing. He did enough 30 seconds. He stole a round.
And that's
where it's so hard as a judge.
Yeah, but you are a professional. You know that these tactics exist. Like there's no excuse for we got tricked. I mean, there's too much video. There's too much evidence. All of these stuff. I want to get to our white people and wild animal story of the day.
Oh, are we going to do a curious George story? Because
you have the curious George story.
Do you have animal and white people?
Yeah, yes, I have the.
Because white people do stupid things with animals.
Yes, yeah, they do strange things, especially with wild animals. Okay, so there is a famous lobster company in Maine. They make delicious lobster rolls. They do all of this. They had a great idea, because apparently it is inhumane the way that they kill lobsters.
Well,
they boil them.
Woo!
Yeah.
You put in that poor sound
here is what he's doing now. He is hotboxing the lobsters. Okay. So because he's got a marijuana license, so he's getting the lobsters high first, and then dropping them in the water. Because apparently, in this guy's mind, that getting a lobster, that dying while high, is more humane than just dying in general. And I think that this logic does not apply to people, because if you die while high, that's not greater than dying while sober. Because if you die while you're high, you most likely did something stupid.
Well, it depends, because when you're high, it helps pain. Like it does. Marijuana helps with a lot of things. My mother still smokes marijuana, God bless, because she has a serious pain condition in her face.
Yeah,
it's a trigeminal nerve. Anyone who has trigeminal nerves know what I'm talking about. It knocks you off your feet type of pain.
Yeah.
So she uses medical marijuana. It helps her to feel better. Okay. Which is great. I understand that. NFL players would love, or NBA would love to have a choice of having marijuana as a way to deal with pain, to deal with head traumas and stuff like that. Now, thinking in the lobster's case, it's still not really humane, because you're putting the lobster in the pot, whether high or not. How about taking the lobster, George, and putting him back into the ocean while high, maybe gives him a little extra, maybe he'll know where he's going, and letting him go. Because that's really the only humane way you're going to get around this. I mean, we can't really understand what the lobster feels about it. You're killing the lobster, eating the lobster. Exactly. It's not humane. The bottom line is, it's really not going to do much for that lobster.
Yeah, and so do you want your lobster half baked, or half baked before it's boiled?
No, or do you want boiled? I'm gonna go with the boiled.
Yeah, man. Don't half bake my lobster. Actually, I don't even care if you have bake my lobster. Just make it taste good. Just make my lobster taste good. But that's the white people and wild animal story.
I like that. Because I enjoy that one. Well, we're gonna have on the Curious George story in a little bit. It's a mascot. Okay, it's a mascot. So it counts sort of in the animal frame of form.
Yep.
But we're going to talk about a mascot. It's a little preview here on the Unafraid Show. He's George Reister, former NFL player. I'm Eric Peterson, the MVP of the Recliner. I watched Week 2 of the NFL, and I have to, how passionate I'm about this. We're seeing some strange things in the NFL, George. And we're seeing a sport basically that's kind of hurting itself by decisions that it's making. How weird has the season been so far after 2 weeks? Well, if I told you Ryan Fitzpatrick would be the MVP of the National Football League after 2 weeks, I know that guy's a laugh.
Dude, there is no after 2 weeks MVP.
2-0 right now, okay? If I told you a record of 19 kicks were missed in week 2, that's insane. Think about that for a moment, okay? If I told you a player was going to retire at halftime, and if I told you we're seeing more of the freaking referees and more indecisiveness on calls after last year with the rules on what completes a catch, which still is impacting the league, even though they decided to kind of change that. Why, George, is your sport, and I'm the fixer. Keep this in mind. Out of the two of us, I like to fix things. I like to, because we know Major League Baseball needs to tweak things. Okay, maybe not the Braille thing necessarily, but they need to tweak things to get people excited about it. The NFL already has the best product, right? We can say that.
Yeah.
Basically, more people are watching the NFL.
Yeah, but you can. You have to always be improving on your product, though.
You should be improving on your product. We already talked about fixing boxing. The NFL needs to stop fixing things, George. It needs
to tinkering.
Back off.
So they're tinkering.
They're tinkering. They're tinkering. You know, it just seems like something's going to happen to a quarterback, George, and we're going to have a new rule.
Yep.
Okay, let's face it. That's what happens. And I'm getting to the point now where I've always been an offensive guy, but now I'm like, I want to get behind the coalition for all defenses in the National Football League. Because don't know how to tackle a player, and first of all, I get the helmet on helmet was a good rule. Because that's serious. That's a major issue.
Because players were intentionally trying to knock out other players.
Yes. That is a major, major issue. But Tom Brady, a few years back, busted his knee against the Kansas City Chiefs. I think it was an opening day.
Yeah, it was an opening day.
And the Chiefs knocked him out for the year.
And it was Polk. Who
hit him, and his knee was busted up. And then they came up with a rule: you can't hit a quarterback below the waist, correct? Or below the knee. You can't hit him knee or below. That was the Tom Brady rule. Well, last year, the Green Bay Packers and Minnesota Vikings played. I believe it was like week 2 or 3 of the season. And Anthony Barr tackled Aaron Rodgers.
Yep.
I don't know if he threw him down, but he certainly didn't abstain from putting his weight on Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
And now we have the Aaron Rodgers rule, which is you can't put your complete body weight on the quarterback.
Yep.
Whoa, okay. All right. Look, I think you and I are smart enough, and the fans out there are smart enough to say, you should never be able to take a quarterback and do like a wrestling move and sit there and pick him up off his feet and literally throw him to the ground.
Correct.
That should always be a penalty.
Yeah.
Okay? And
that should be a penalty if you do it to anybody.
Right.
Really.
Roughing the passer has been there anyways.
Yeah.
Okay? Even though it's sometimes subjective. Now it's to a point, George. And ironically, the Green Bay Packers were impacted by a supposed roughing the passer call
on Aaron Rodgers.
It was Kirk Cousins.
Yeah, correct.
Right. And Clay Matthews.
The Aaron Rodgers rule.
2 weeks in a row, Clay Matthews, and I don't get either one. One was against Chicago. This one against Kirk Cousins. Went into the midriff area where I guess is the 10% of the body of the quarterback you can actually hit, and put him on the ground. And actually, if you look at Clay, he almost kind of tried to do it where it was on the side.
Yeah.
So it didn't look like he put his full body weight on it.
No, he didn't.
The Packers intercepted the ball.
Yep.
Game would have been over.
Yeah, the game would have been over, and you were excited. You were happy about this.
That was a call I enjoyed. I am a Viking fan, but I still think this rule sucks.
Yeah.
And I even said to myself, "What the hell is this? Where it's a subjective call, and a referee, George Reister, and I don't have his name in front of me, said to one of the players, one of the defensive players,
Yep.
I know you did it by the letter of the law, but the league needs us to enforce this." What the hell is that?
That's just like you. I don't see any problem with that. That's just like you saying that Mark Cuban needs to be punished because we're trying to enforce rules
there was
around.
punishment here because the Packers and Vikings ended up in a tie, so they lost a win because of a controversial call, which unfortunately for Clay Matthews, he's in the center of this because it's 2 weeks in a row. And look, I don't know, George, why the league continually wants to make these tinkering changes. I understand protecting quarterbacks.
Yep.
I get it. I understand. But soon it's going to be two-hand touch because I don't know where you can hit a quarterback, how you can hit a quarterback. And listen, that's going to turn the viewer up because you know what we're seeing?
Yep.
We're seeing a lot more of the referees, which means more stoppages in play, which means the game itself is being hurt. The flow of the game is being hurt for calls that really shouldn't be there. And I'm going to guess that probably at the end of the year, after the season, after the Super Bowl in Atlanta, they're going to have a committee and they're going to probably eliminate this rule. Why not do it now? Just say that, you know what? Commissioners, stand up and say, look, this was a rule we had in place. We wanted to protect the quarterbacks. We don't want to see Aaron Rodgers lost for the season. We don't want to see Tom Brady's lost for the season. But I mistakenly, and the rules committee mistakenly look at this rule, and I can't tell you, this just looks like a mistake. We're going back to the old form.
See, here's the problem, is that when you get to tinkering and you get to trying to get down to the minutia of something, because of instant replay, because of technology, slow-mo with cameras, all of these things, we've gotten the ability to, quote-unquote, get things right. And now we can break everything down to like the very, very small details. So why on earth? And that leads us to overcorrection. Because anytime that a rule has to go down, that people have to judge in real time, a rule that can only be seen in slow motion, then that's when you have a problem. That's actually how that they should judge how that they are going to make new rules. If it cannot be seen in real life, if a person who with the naked eye, without the help of replay, cannot get this call right, then that's how that the rule needs to be written. So I get that you need to check whether a player, if his foot is in bounds, all of those things, because those things can be seen with the naked eye, but sometimes they get them wrong. With this roughing the passer and the hits, they are so subjective that it doesn't matter whether, I mean, it's like in college, you see guys thrown out for targeting every week, and sometimes they don't even hit them. When you are tackling a person, there's no way to tackle them without your face hitting first. It's not possible because you have to get some momentum, because you have one person who's running like this.
Yeah.
If you run into him like this, you lose. Low man always wins. So if you don't even launch a little bit, you are going to be the loser on every single tackle.
And I've noticed this too, George, and you talk about subjective. How many times do we see this where the defender's already going to tackle, right?
Yeah, and then
the offensive guy goes down, and then they helmet to helmet, and you're like,
how is this his fault?
Already was negotiating to tackle him legally.
You're like, how are you going to?
The offensive guy, right, dives on it. So it's like, it's so hard. I realize that they're not going to be able to fix all of these rules, and I get protecting against head injuries because we're seeing now more so, George, than ever. Former retirees suffering from all kinds of situations, whether it's dementia, Alzheimer's. In fact, that's leading to people speaking up about it. Should retired players get paid continually? I believe they should have health care coverage through life. You played in a sport. You gave. I think you see it with state employees. You see it in some companies. You work a certain amount of time. Yeah. In that company, you're going to get full health coverage for the rest of your life, which is huge. Yeah,
and it should be. And I talked about this earlier in the week, is that one of the main reasons why health insurance because it came out when Eric Dickerson, Deion Sanders, all these guys, they wrote a letter to Goodell saying that they're not going to show up to the Hall of Fame events if they don't receive full medical. And then Eric Dickerson clarified that, no, we want health insurance. We want a piece of the league revenue for Hall of Fame players, but we want to make sure that all players and former players get lifetime health insurance. But the league is never going to voluntarily give up either one of those things. how the only people who can change it. So the Hall of Famers are never going to get a piece of the revenue, no matter what. It's not happening. Because the owners, Jerry Jones already stated when the 2011 CBA got negotiated, former players hold no value to us. They're like the garnish. I mean, so that was Jerry Jones. Here's me. Former players are the garnish on the team.
Yeah.
Like they are.
I think they have a lot of value to it.
No, they have no value.
Really?
They are the
for
garnish.
Public relations.
They are the garnish.
Okay.
Is that they are, so you make the entire meal and then you throw the parsley on top. It just makes it look a little better. It doesn't make the food taste any better. It doesn't like change the fact whether you're going to eat your meal or not. But it just makes makes the picture
better.
nice.
It's got more appetizing.
Exactly. But it's not actually going to it's
not going to change the taste of the
correct
product.
And that's what the former players are. And as a former player, I can admit that. So the former players don't have value in terms of generating revenue for the teams. That's why they hold no value. But the only people that can change this for the players is the current players. When the new CBA is up after 2020, they have to prioritize healthcare. Healthcare, because everybody wants to make a little bit more money now. But the reality of it is this, is that youth is wasted on the young. So it's hard for 20-somethings to visualize themselves as a beat-up old 35-year-old, 45-year-old, 50.
It's a lot quicker than you want.
Correct. And so it's hard for them to realize that. And then when you're in the league, the league is paying your healthcare premiums. So unless you have a wife or kid who gets super sick or something, you're not seeing very many medical bills. And if so, the league's plan is so good that you're not paying very much. So you can't even imagine how much it costs for healthcare out in the real world.
Extraordinary. For any of us, it's extraordinary.
Yeah. So like people don't understand players don't understand while they're playing that you may be shelling out 14, 15, $1,600 a month for a family of like mine, for a family of 6. That's just for the premiums, let alone the uninsured medical costs. And so that already just the premiums. Like for me in my example, my family, we have a nice PPO. We pay about $16,000 a year for our coverage, plus uninsured medical costs. And think about that. Like you don't think about, like 20 grand a year. It don't sound that bad while you're getting these huge checks. But when you think about it after, you're like, damn, like that's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money.
And so players have to have the foresight to realize that they are going to be former players and start to really think about and address the needs that they're going to have.
Well, if you've listened to Richard Sherman, who is the cornerback of the San Francisco 49ers, former Seattle Seahawk great, he already said pretty much that the league's going to be on a strike. Like, there's going to be a labor...
Oh, there's absolutely...
In 2020, there's going to be a lot of things to discuss. And that's obviously got to be one of the more important ones, George.
For sure.
And so we could see a lockout. We could see a prolonged CBA negotiation.
And the players have armed themselves for that. They have a war chest. They are going to be able to be paid while they're on break. Because one of the things that people don't know is that the owners want to keep the players poor. And when I say that, I mean they're paid over with the exception of 2 people. That's Marcus Peters, who's paid throughout the entire year. He negotiated it through in his contract. He's the only player in the league. And the Tennessee Titans, who pay over 33 weeks in the league. Everybody else, in pretty much out in the world, is paid either once a week, once every 2 weeks, or once a month. So that's how most people are paid. And these are like grown people who manage their money well, or have experience. Yeah, correct, and all of that. So imagine being 20-something years old, you getting all your money over the course of 17 weeks. There's still over 17 weeks. There's still another 35 weeks left in the year.
Better save.
Correct. But so if if grown men 40, 50 years old have trouble budgeting for an entire year,
but that's a lot of, let's face it, that's still a lot of money. What's the minimum salary?
It's like 4 or something.
Okay, so you're, even though it's not.
Yeah, but you have taxes. You have,
sure,
I mean,
you have
that.
agent,
Yeah. So that 430 looks like
it changes. It's not what what you think.
It looks like about 200,000. So the entire point is that if you're a person who made $200,000, so let's say that you lived decently and you lived on $75,000 of that, right? Which is kind of amicable to like you being a professional athlete. Like you got you a Lexus, you got you like you didn't
get nice things.
Like like you didn't go buy like a damn Ferrari. Like you go buy your Lexus. You get
Kirk
you
Cousins still drives his van around.
You get you a nice place to live. I don't mean a mansion, you get you a condo which you're paying like $2,500 a month on. Like that's a $75,000 lifestyle, and then you come up on a lockout. Think about that.
That's going to cause certain stress on your ability to live.
Correct.
Because who knows how long this is going to go.
Correct.
For. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be a while.
And you only have like 5 or 6 players in a locker room, because I know everybody thinks everybody makes so much money.
Right.
But you really only have like 5, maybe 10 at the most players in your locker room who are above the league minimum.
Right. So you get all the rookies, and you see all the rookies, you see all the rookies. There's more rookies on teams now, more than ever, because of that cost.
Yeah. So
even though that the league every year, George, for the last has gone up by $10 million salary.
Yep.
Cap money. So apparently,
but it's all going to the quarterback.
It's going to the
It's
going to the same guys.
Yep.
It's not filtering its way.
Yeah. Trickle down economics works nowhere in life.
All right.
But I wanted to get to, because while we were on the Forbes, because we're talking about money, Forbes released their most valuable franchises in the league. Okay. Yeah. Who do you think has the?
It has to be the New York Yankees.
No. Of the, first of all, it's not the New York Yankees, but in all the sports, it's not the New York Yankees.
In baseball it is though.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
But it is the team who's the most valuable franchise in all the sports is the most valuable franchise.
Dallas Cowboys.
Yes, the Dallas Cowboys, valued at $5 billion. Can you name other teams in the top 5? I'm sorry, in the top 10.
NFL or
in the NFL. Teams in the top 10. Let's see how many of them that you can name.
I think the New York Giants would have to be in
Yep.
There. All right.
Giants, Cowboys.
Giants, Cowboys. I would say probably the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Nope.
Really?
Yep. Nope.
Most successful organization ever is not in there.
It does not matter, bro.
New England Patriots?
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going to just think geographically then. The New York Jets?
Yep.
Okay, so New York, Massachusetts.
Yep.
Okay, so we're just going to take big Philadelphia?
Yep. They are number 10.
Okay, they're number 10.
The Jets are number 8. The Patriots are number 2. Giants 3.
And Cowboys are 1.
Yep.
So, yeah, that's I pretty much nailed enough to.
Rams number 4.
Okay, the Rams number 4. Well,
yes.
They're looking at the new stadium.
Well, and they moved to L.A.
Right.
L.A.'s much more valuable.
The Chargers get up on that list because
no,
they still
dude, they're playing in StubHub Center, bro.
They're gonna be in the same stadium as the Rams. So that L.A.
Listen,
name to it.
It's Kroenke's building.
Oh, yeah, right.
They are tenants. Redskins number 5.
Wow, and did you see the Redskin fans at the empty seats?
Yeah.
And the fans,
it doesn't matter, bro.
Get off your couch, get to the game.
Yeah.
Like they're begging fans to come.
Yep.
Wonder how long that's going. Well, that's a Daniel Snyder thing. Nobody likes Daniel.
San Francisco 49ers at 6.
Sure.
Chicago Bears at 7.
Yeah.
Jets at 8. Houston Texans at 9.
Yeah, I was going to say Texas because
that one snuck up on me. I didn't expect them to be worth quite as much.
Texas, they got a stadium down there.
Yeah, but they do own the Bob McNair does own NRG Stadium, though, so that always increases. And Jeffrey Lurie owning
Packers, because you know what's interesting about the Packers being owned by the fans?
They're sort of owned by the fans.
Right.
They are technically owned by the fans, but shareholders who don't get no shares. That's do you realize
the love of your sport and your fandom?
Do you realize how ridiculous that is? Like that to be like, yeah, I'm a Packer. I have a certificate because I'm a Packer shareholder, but I don't get no damn money though.
I'll guarantee you one of the biggest risers on your list will be the Minnesota Vikings. Because
Stop!
The new stadium.
Dude, no,
and
they will never get in the top.
Yeah,
but it's still in Minnesota. It's still in Minnesota.
All right, let's do a new segment on the show. We're gonna get to right or wrong, and I'm gonna pick names from a hat. Let's do what we're gonna.
We're not gonna have time for that today, bro.
All right, let's finish the statement. We have time for a quick finish the statement.
Yep.
Okay, and then the Curious George story of the day, which I'll have put out over here, which is quite entertaining. All right, so I'm gonna give you a statement, and you finish it. So Jimmy Butler would look good in this uniform.
A Clippers uniform.
You think he'd look good at you, so you don't want to throw your Lakers in there?
No, hell no. I don't want Jimmy Butler on the Lakers. He's a fabulous player, but he's built out of the same stuff that like DeMar DeRozan is. Like he's not a championship caliber player. I think he's a guy next to the guy, and I don't think that he possesses enough of the dynamic skill set that it would take to play with LeBron in terms of I think that he would get a little more passive, and I just don't see it. So he's fine playing with the next door neighbors, the little brother of the Clippers.
All right, a little entertainment for you here. Tom Hardy as Venom will be.
Who is Tom Hardy?
Tom Hardy's the actor. Is playing Venom. I don't know if you've seen any of the
what is Venom?
Tom Hardy's been in
what is Venom?
Ton of mood. Venom is the Spider-Man antithesis. The
Okay, yeah.
Tom Hardy's played a lot of a great actor. He's right up there. He's like Christian Bale. He was in a Batman movie. He played Bane.
Yeah.
So Tom Hardy's a guy that will like configure himself to his roles. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, he does the method acting, crazy man acting.
Tom Hardy as Venom will be. Are you excited? I mean, is this going to be cool?
Okay, it will be Heath Ledger-esque.
Wow, that's how like Heath Ledger. You could argue and I love Jack Nicholson as the Joker, but I have to say Heath Ledger's Joker
Heath Ledger was
the best.
However, this is a Hail Mary by DC because they have failed compared to the Marvel universe. The Marvel universe it's not even close.
Same thing.
Dude,
like, this is
nobody,
ridiculous.
with the exception of the old Spider-Man movies. But since Marvel has started making movies like for real, like it hasn't even been close. Like aside from the Batmans, like they've got nothing.
They have nothing.
They got nothing, bro.
Maroon 5 at the Super Bowl show will make you
go grab something to eat. Dude,
I like Adam Levine. Okay,
I like Maroon 5. I enjoy
Move Like Jagger. It's like the one song I know.
I enjoy Maroon 5.
Where's the Super Bowl this year? It's in
Atlanta.
Okay,
how are you gonna
get some Atlanta acts?
Correct.
Chris? I mean, even MC Hammer. I hope
MC
Hammer.
Wait,
let me
he's
explain
from
why.
Oakland. Stop. No, absolutely not.
Made Atlanta
no, absolutely not.
Okay.
MC Hammer?
Yeah, I mean, let's go old school. Hammer time.
Do you realize
he was the Atlanta Falcons guy.
Here is the problem. Here's where the NFL continues to screw up.
Yeah.
Do you realize what is the most successful and most listened to genre of music right now?
It's rap.
Hip hop. Yeah.
Hip hop. Excuse me.
Hip hop. So guess what? Old people like hip hop. Young people like hip hop. Yeah. And if you don't want to necessarily do straight up hip hop, do you know who is the go-to who you could get every single year? It doesn't matter. I would go directly. I would put Bruno Mars on like a 10-year on a 10-year contract.
Like not even worry about other shows. Just have Bruno come in.
Either him
and maybe an Atlanta act.
Okay. No. Yeah. They
can open. You gotta have something Atlanta.
They can come make an appearance and open. Okay,
right.
I'll give an Atlanta person
give a little Atlanta some love, and then Bruno Mars,
or Justin Timberlake, or Beyonce. Those are your only choices.
Well,
Or you can
yes.
do like Nicki Minaj or Cardi B.
I mean, she helped Coldplay out.
So what? That means that she is
who doesn't like looking at Beyonce? I mean, let's be honest.
Do you know who just turned down the NFL though? Jay-Z turned down the NFL.
Jay-Z said no
because they wanted him because remember they want the acts to pay to do it.
Right. That's right. Isn't that weird? You got to pay. Well, of course, it's going to lead to a ton of money down the line for you.
No, I'm not paying to be in the.
I last want to finish the statement, and we'll do the Curious George story. LeBron James, starring in Space Jam 2, makes you feel. No. Please. No.
Yeah, I would take out the feel word. I would say it's appropriate. It's very appropriate. If you're gonna make a sequel to after a movie with
Michael Jordan was in a Space Jam. You can't follow Jordan.
Correct.
You got to do your own thing.
No,
make your own cartoon movie.
No, bro. Space Jam's a legit movie.
Of course it is.
And
that's MJ's movie.
And it is an honor to be. Think about this. They didn't give Space Jam 2 to Kobe.
Right.
They gave Space Jam 2, and I'm a Kobe guy. And they gave Space Jam to the wholesome man who is LeBron James.
Well, he is. He's the ultimate
guy
that you'd want to represent your league.
Correct. So, I'm in on Space Jam with LeBron James. And I think it is smart. I think it is genius. I think that it
original. Be original.
Oh, you're such a hater, dude.
All right. Quickly. Because I know how much time do we have left here.
Just a couple
minutes. Curious George story of the day. You know, I didn't have a.
Oh wait, hold on. I didn't get a chance to give you my finish the sentence.
If we have time,
yes.
Because I actually wanted to pull a couple things from the hat if I could.
Okay. I will give you one then.
One out of the hat.
No. I'll give you one finish the sentence.
Okay. All right. Hit me.
I will. You will do what if the Red Sox don't? Oh wait. Oh, so if the Red Sox don't win the World Series.
This will be an article you will see, a little preview on unafraid.com. I will explain to you what I think if that doesn't happen. Because it's really nice, George. They've won 100 and some odd games already.
Yep.
103.
Yep.
They're probably going to break their franchise record of 105.
Yep.
So record season. They could.
Sounds like the Seattle Mariners a couple years ago.
And that is a team you'll never remember. And you should, because they had Randy Johnson, Ken Griffey Jr., Edgar Martinez. They won 116 games, George Reister.
And did not win the Super Bowl.
They lost to the Yankees.
Yep.
In not even the chance.
Yeah. It was the ALCS.
The Raiders. The Yankees had to beat the A's that year, and they got to the World Series and won.
So
let's just save it for the article. Let's just say there'll be more gray hair on top of my head right now, and I will definitely not be a very happy. It's almost.
You go cry when you get in the
just
car.
let the season end. It's almost like let's just get the season over. It's like great that they win, but it doesn't matter.
How are you gonna take away the divisional races in like the NL West and the?
Oh, that's exciting. That's exciting because Yasiel Puig is doing some wonderful things.
Hit a 3-run home run.
Let's get some better security at your house in Encino. Okay, 4 times. Let's just rent out some security guards. I don't know what you got to do, but let's do that. All right. I had to pull this name, and it's kind of disgusting. His name is Lynn Redwood. He's a school superintendent.
Okay.
In a Texas district.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this up. Okay, go.
He tweeted on Facebook, which obviously
he tweeted on Facebook,
He tweeted on Facebook. He responded on Facebook.
Yeah.
He was not happy with a play that Deshaun Foster had, and they lost to Deshaun Watson in the Texans-Titans game. And he basically said, quote, and I'm using my own words onto this, that is the lack of precision that you get in a black quarterback.
Yep.
Okay. So Lynn has exposed himself as being racist. To throw this as Reister or Ron is really, it's only wrong. What one-word answer would you come up with in what should now happen to this individual now that he's exposed himself in such
antiquated thinking. Because I actually had a black person say to me, a young black dude, he was like, well, if I want a quarterback, I want a white quarterback because black quarterbacks don't win the Super Bowl. And I was like, Doug Williams won.
Yeah, Doug Williams
Russell Wilson has won. What do you? Okay. So, and here is the problem with that whole thinking, is that some people are like, well, it's not racist because they haven't blah blah blah. But here's the thing: anytime that you think that somebody's skin color has anything to do with their
position and pressure,
correct,
white or black,
correct.
Many quarterbacks make mistakes.
Yes. So, but I love the way that Deshaun Watson, J.J. Watt handled it. They're like, listen, we're not even going to give this dude in the air. But the reality of it is, so I had a black dude say that to me. And I was like, he was like, think about it. How many of them have won? And I was like, okay.
And let's just...
You have to consider this.
Like, can we put a time frame on this? Let's remember guys like James Harris. Let's remember
Shaq Harris.
Guys that actually came into the league to break Fuqua from the Steelers way back in the day, that had to fight to prove that has nothing to do to actually break that stereotype. Because that was a stereotype. In the 70s, really?
And it was...
In the 80s, it was still,
Correct. And it's only been the last 15 or so years that you've had quarterbacks... It started in college, where they got a fair shot. That it was not a, and then also you just saw it happen last year in Buffalo with Tyrod Taylor.
Right.
They're like, they benched Tyrod Taylor for Nathan Peterman.
What? Kid, oh my god,
dude. So
Nathan Peterman might be the worst.
That means that you are either the worst talent evaluator there is, because Buffalo also moved up to draft Josh Allen as well. So
that guy's gonna get his lunch handed to him this weekend.
Dude, so their talent evaluation is bad, right? So theirs was so long that black quarterbacks did not receive fair treatment. They didn't get the same opportunities. So now it takes a while to catch up with the amount of Super Bowls and all that, because only one person wins every year. And Tom Brady has taken up one of them spots pretty much.
He's been in the Super Bowl like every other year.
Yeah, he's been in the Super Bowl.
5 wins, 8 times, 5-3. I think.
Yeah, so Tom Brady's taking up part of the opportunity.
Great athlete.
And over the course of time, these things will catch up.
Yeah.
Because the more and more diversity that you have, somebody's going to win. And it's not an issue of race. It was a matter of opportunity and training. So quarterbacks come in all shapes, fashions, and then they're like, oh, it's too athletic. The running quarterbacks. Steve Young was a great quarterback, and that dude could move.
Watch every Sunday, Cam Newton. And Cam Newton's like his own position, because I've never seen a quarterback that size, that kind of speed, and that strength.
And so many people would have tried to move his foot 20 years ago. He would have never been a quarterback.
No, he would have had to play like tight end, linebacker, or some other position.
D-end.
So, unbelievable. Great. That was a great pull right there, because that's a polarizing name. All right, so we got time for the Curious George story of the day.
Yep.
Another fine. And I did not have an actual wild animal and a stupid white person that would do something with a wild animal. But let's just say it is a white person in an animal's costume. Dateline, Boulder, Colorado, George Reister.
Yeah.
The Buffalo's mascot, otherwise known as Chip the Buffalo, during the game against New Hampshire, which Colorado was routing them, they won 45-14.
Yep.
Had a slight mishap, George. This is what we call a dyslexia moment, or maybe a snow cone on the middle of the head. As he was riling up the fans, he went to get his T-shirt gun.
Yeah.
And Chip the Buffalo, and granted now, they have the Buffalo mask on. Maybe it's hard to see. Maybe someone should have told him. Chip, you have the gun pointing the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
If you have not seen the video, I highly recommend it. Chip fired the T-shirt gun, which was aiming completely at his crotch. You'll never see a guy go down faster in your life. I can only imagine how much that hurts. I can now report, though, that Chip the Buffalo has responded via Twitter. His bruised groin, he literally had to be carted off, George. This was a serious thing. At one point, you thought maybe he killed himself.
Yeah.
Okay?
Dude.
And then people are just looking at him, and then the car comes, they pull him off, and he's not going to have to watch this video for the rest of his life. But he will be ready for the UCLA Bruins this weekend. Bruce groin, he's happy for all.
This is absolute nonsense.
Curious story.
This is exactly why everybody should not be able to play with weapons. It's dangerous and somebody can get hurt, including yourself. Thank you guys for joining us today on Unafraid Show. George Reister here, Eric Peterson.
Have a great weekend. Zoe's coming up next.
Yep, and enjoy college football this weekend. Visit unafraidshow.com. A lot of articles up, NFL, college, all that. Peace out. We will catch you guys later.
See ya. That was good.